that all information I have provided to the SRC Coordinating Committee and during this vetting process is true, accurate, and complete to the best of my knowledge. I further swear that if elected into office, I would uphold and defend the UniMAC SRC Constitution, serve the student body with integrity, fairness, and accountability, and perform my duties without fear or favor. I commit to respecting the electoral process, abiding by all rules and guidelines governing this election, and conducting myself in a manner worthy of student leadership. So help me God. You're welcome.
Let's get down to business. Mr. Moses, you're not for the position of president.
Yes, please.
Who is the president according to the UniMAC SRC Constitution?
Thank you very much for the question. First of all, I'd extend my greetings to...
Please hold on. Can I have silence and alcohol, please? Thank you. Please go ahead.
I extend my greetings to the cherished panel and everybody gathered here, and the good people of UniMAC who have joined virtually. I truly appreciate their presence. Now, to your question, you've asked for what the Constitution says about the president. Now, if you take the UniMAC SRC Constitution, take Chapter 4, which establishes the Executive Council, clearly spells out what the president is supposed to do. So a president, in its truest sense, has both ceremonial and administrative functions. The president is supposed to be the head of the Student Representative Council. Now, there are a couple of things that the president is supposed to do. One of those things is to be the chief spokesperson for the student body. And so in terms of saying chief spokesperson, it means that you have the responsibility of advocating on issues that directly relate to the student body. Another thing that the president is also a joint signatory to the SRC accounts. And in addition to that, the president is also responsible for making very relevant appointments that will aid the smooth functioning of governance within the SRC framework. And so, in summary, the president is both the administrative and ceremonial head of the Executive Council of the Student Representative Council. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Miss Lady.
Yes.
Who is the vice president according to the UniMAC SRC Constitution?
Thank you, esteemed panel. Thank you, Madam Chair. So, according to the UniMAC Constitution, Chapter 4, Article 11, Clause 2, mandates my SRC Vice President Office the responsibilities, first of all, to assist the President and to be in his stead when he's handling other crucial matters. Also to ensure the unity among the halls and the institutions that we have.
Okay. Did you approach him or he approached you?
He approached me.
What is that one thing that you saw in him that made you say, yes, I'm going to be your running mate?
So prior to his decision, Moses Desire Kouyo is a man I have worked with on several projects outside and within school. So I believe personally I have few values that I hold high esteem. One, transparency and work ethics, which correlates with what we both share. Yes.
Transparency and ethics.
Yes.
What ethics are we talking about here?
Honesty.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so, Mr. Moses, what made you, out of all of the IF2 students, choose Milady Micaiah Orlando, I think, as your running mate?
Thank you very much for the question, Madam Chair. Choosing a running mate is a very difficult task because it means that I'm choosing someone who must complement my efforts in leading the administration. And so I wouldn't say it was a very mean task. But fundamentally, what made me choose Milady Orlando Mikaya is basically the fact that I have worked with her extensively in numerous projects, and we share a certain level of telepathic communication and understanding that is very important for people who are within the two key positions within the SRC setup. And she possesses certain skill sets that I believe that coming from one of the sister institutions in the merger, she can bring those skill sets, experiences, and talents to the drawing table for us to be able to move our SRC into the new horizon that we wanted to see. And so that is why I chose Milady Orlando Mikaya as my running mate.
Okay. You mentioned that you like to, I think you said, advocate for students or something like that when you were talking about the role of the SRC president.
Yes, please.
I would like you to rate the immediate past interim administration and explain the reason for your rating.
Well, I have been very involved in student business. I have been serving in numerous leadership capacities. I've been keeping tabs on the successive SRC administration. And so I'm very glad you asked me this question. In fact, I penned a full-length article that is available on certain news outlets, giving a cursory analysis of the previous SRC administration. Now, as at that time, they had not finished their tenure, and so the rating I gave them, I can't give that same rating here. But for now, taking into full purview what they've done, what they promised to do, and what they've done currently, I believe that they, on a scale of 1 to 10, they deserve a strong 4 over 10. I'll score them 4 over 10. And the reasons are, there are specific offices within that administration that individually met some of their targets. If you take, for example, the Women's Commissioner's Office, which is now rebranded as Gender Affairs Commissioner, you can say truly that when it comes to certain initiatives that she wanted to roll out, she did it and she did it for when you take supporting entrepreneurs on campus, she was able to do that. And I believe it's a vital master stroke in supporting students. When you take other offices like the External Affairs Commissioner, even though it wasn't a sterling performance, at least some fundamental things were done. But if you take the highest office, the office of the president, I believe that the performance was subpar. It wasn't to the satisfaction of the student body. You can't point to one credible initiative that the previous interim SRC president rolled out. And so when I take these things into consideration, I could say that 4 over 10 is a fair analysis and a fair rating of that SRC administration. Thank you.
All right, thank you. According to your leadership and experience, the section 4 of the form you filled, you've been General Assembly Rep, Defendant General. Most of these were in one particular year, in 2023.
Yes, sir.
How did you handle being in all of these positions at the same time, or rather in the same year?
Thank you very much for the question, and I understand why it's a very pivotal question. So, the hallmark of every good leader is your ability to manage resources, and time is a resource. And so, having the ability to multitask is something that any good leader should have. And I exemplified that during that period. And so, I was able to ensure that I allocated the relevant time to the relevant tasks. So, for example, as leader of Mandela Hall, as leader of Aseye Scholars Club, there are specific things that I need to do. And so I do not waste time on irrelevant initiatives, irrelevant tasks. I focus on what I need to do and then allocate the time and use the time wisely. That is how I was able to manage the numerous conflicting schedules that came with leading some of these vital institutions. Time management. Right.
Would you say you excelled in all the positions?
Yes. And I will not say I excelled because I want to toot my horn. The results speak for themselves. If you want me to go into it, I can.
Yeah, within just a minute.
Okay, sure. So let's take Aseye Scholars Club. Aseye Scholars Club is a club that is dedicated to training young entrepreneurs within the arena of the free market philosophy. So,
I gave him a minute. I think that's why he's rushing. But you can.
So she gave me a minute to run through, but I'm at your indulgence, and so if you want me to slow down, that's fine. Sure, that's fine. So, Aseye Scholars Club is a club that is dedicated to training student entrepreneurs within the arena of the free market philosophy. So, as president of the club, we established the chapter. There are various chapters. We established a chapter on the UniMAC IJ campus, and then we had to lead that chapter to GILEC. GILEC is the Ghana Inter-University Liberation Economic Competition. Now, we had to lead that chapter to that competition where we placed first in the pitch and placed second in the debate. That in itself is one of the key performance indicators. When you take Mandela Hall, it was under my administration, and I know you have first-hand knowledge because you succeeded my tenure. We've done remarkable things with the hall. First of all, we established the sense of belonging when it comes to Mandela. Previously, it wasn't just as an abstract institution, but we built a family on campus. Beyond that, we did something very novel, a media tour. And I've seen certain SRCs try to replicate it, but Mandela Hall is always Mandela Hall.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So one question here asks, briefly describe one challenge you faced in a leadership role and how you handled it. Do you remember what you wrote there? Okay.
Again, it relates to my time as a leader of Mandela Hall, and I mentioned that funding hall activities was a very, very serious challenge, and that was because, you see, in the previous SRC constitution, there were supposed to be allocations to halls, you know this, but you know how these things play out. Sometimes the allocations do not come, and then you need to seek for external support as funding to fund hall activities. That was a major challenge, but I was able to navigate it using my vast network of personal contacts, and I reached out to certain local partners who have been members of the hall, so the alumni network, and we're able to carry out some of these development projects. So the major challenge I faced during that period is the funding challenge.
For the events, all right. And then the question here that says, how would you describe your leadership style in 1 or 2 sentences? You said, my leadership style is collaborative and people-centered, grounded in communication, transparency, and shared responsibility. I believe in leading with clarity, listening first, and empowering others to deliver their best. Explain.
Thank you very much for the question. You see, the bedrock of any good leader is you're supposed to be a leader that listens, because the decisions that you make are predicated on what the people are telling you. And so when I describe myself as a listening leader, I basically mean that in making the decisions that directly impact and affect the people I seek to lead, I must listen to them. I must take in their input. Now, John C. Maxwell, who is a leadership expert, he has propounded different theories, posited various assertions about leadership. And he said something very fundamental I want to share. He says that leadership is basically a contract between leaders and followers, where leaders are trying to get the consent of followers in decision making. And that's basically what I mean by when I say I'm a listening leader. I'm seeking to ensure that people feel that they can participate in decision making. And when they feel a part of the decision making process, I take it a step further by collaborating with them in carrying out those decisions. So if you notice, I mentioned that I have collaborative tendencies. So I don't believe that I am the leader and I'm the only one supposed to carry it out. I would empower people to help me carry out those functions.
All right. Thank you. Miss Milady. Between you and Moses Desire Kouyo, who is the better leader?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would say we complement each other.
Right.
We are supposed to work hand in hand, and we are not looking at who is the best. But to achieve a way forward, we need to work as a partnership.
All right. So if students approach you and tell you that you want Moses to win, right?
Yes.
Okay, you want to win.
Yes.
Okay. So if students approach you and tell you that we prefer you to Moses, we want you to run as the president and then Moses be your vice, so we vote for you, are you going to go ahead and make this decision because you want to win at the end of the day?
Thank you for this question. I would say no.
Explain.
No, because I believe that this is the time to learn from the experience. If you look at Moses's leadership skills, you'd notice that he has been the 3-time member of the General Assembly, so on and so forth.
So you're willing to lose the votes of the people?
It's not about losing the vote of the people. It's about the people. We are in the office because of them.
In this case, the people are requesting you go as the president, then you run with you.
So in everything, we communicate. It's a matter of dialogue. Let them understand that it's a partnership, not a one-man's job.
How would you measure success for your administration for the Kouyo Orlando? Is it Orlando? Is the surname?
Yes.
So the Kouyo Orlando administration. How would you measure success when it comes to
Measure success.
yes?
So we are in for keeping a legacy. Yes. In simple words.
You're in for keeping a legacy.
Yes.
What legacy is it?
So we believe that we have projects that will solve the students of problem, the problems of students. Sorry. Yes. So in this scenario, we believe that students have crucial issues that run across the various institutions, which we are hoping to solve in the time of our tenure.
Okay. And Prince, you can go ahead.
Okay. Moses Desire Kouyo, right? Is it Kouyo or
Kouyo.
Kouyo?
Thank you very much.
Sometimes I see you add Esquire to your name. Is it part of your name? Most
You
times
see
in
me
writers.
add it in what context?
Sorry?
You see me add it in what context?
In what context? Like in some write-ups, you see Moses Desire Kouyo Esquire.
Oh, I doubt I've used it. It's just my contact name, but I've not used it in any write-up. It's my contact name on WhatsApp.
It's your what?
Contact name on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay. So why is it there? Are you a lawyer?
I have ambitions of ensuring that I finish law school to become a legal practitioner, and I'm speaking it into.
Okay, so if I have
existence.
ambitions to become a professor, can I add professor to my name?
Well, that is. I believe in affirmation. You have your own personal philosophy. I believe that I need to affirm, and I speak it into being, and so that's your personal decision.
Okay, I have your research manual with me here.
The research manual, yes, please.
Our policy pillars. Policy 2, welfare policy. You stated proactive support, endowment fund expansion. But I don't know of any endowment fund. So what then are we going to expand? Or is there an endowment fund I'm not aware of?
That's fine. This is a learning curve and we'll all get the opportunity to learn. And so the endowment fund in its truest form used to exist under the UniMAC SRC administration framework. So in UniMAC IG, there existed an endowment fund. The fund was set up to support students who are unable to pay their fees, pay either full or part of their fees. So a bill was laid on the floor of General Assembly, it was adopted, a committee was set up, and then it was doling out monies to students to be able to pay their fees. Now, the understanding is that the issue of financial support for education advancement is a very key issue. And that's why even at the national level, the no fee stress policy exists. We want to do something in our own small way to ensure that as an SRC that cares about the students' welfare, we are bringing that inherent IG legacy project to this new UniMAC, expand it and ensure that from IL to IFT to IJ, everybody seeks to benefit from this. And we are doing this in a very realistic fashion. If you take a look at the research manual, we have mentioned that at least by the first semester, we've set a target that at least we should be able to raise 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay, it's okay. Have you worked with a media station before?
Yes, at least for the first semester. 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay, that's fine. Have you worked with a media station before? Are you working with a media station?
Yes, please, I am.
Have you done an article about UniMAC before?
Yes, please, I mentioned it in my introduction that when I was asked the question about rating administration, I've written about UniMAC, the administration. I did a full-length feature piece on the SRC administration.
On the SRC?
Yes, please, on the SRC.
Okay, what was it about? Can you educate me on what?
Okay, so I wrote an article about my thoughts about the performance of the SRC. And I did an office. And UniMAC IG specifically on the map. I am one of the foremost people. And when you take the PR arm I established when I was in my first year, together with a colleague, GIJ Cortes. GIJ Cortes is a Twitter account that I established because I saw a problem. When I came, UniMAC was not getting positive reportage and publicity in the airspace and on social media, I decided to establish an X account, which is now followed by organizations like the US Embassy. Which is now followed by organizations like the US Embassy. Leadership responsibilities as a vice president. It's important to dialogue with her and understand why she's unable to perform those responsibilities. I would first dialogue with her and understand. It may be she has a medical challenge, it may be that she's moving out of the country, etc. Now, if the reasons are valid, I would accept it, because what I would be doing by keeping someone who doesn't want to be there is doing a great disservice to the student body, because they've elected a vice president, they expect her to act. She believes that she's not ready or not in a position to act. I'll accept whatever resignation she has. Now, the problem you brought up a very key consideration for the constitution that we are about to promulgate. The constitution is silent on what should happen if a vice president decides to resign. And that is one of the key constitutional considerations we need to make. And I'm not part of the constitutional committee, and I believe that some key figures here are part of it. We should take that into consideration. And so I would hope that by the time that the rollout of the new constitution is done, these matters are taken into consideration so that I, as president, can adhere strictly to the constitution in matters like this. Thank you.
Okay, in a case something has come up, management have their stand on it, students have their stand on it, and they are having opposing or conflicting views. Let me give the example of online classes that we are doing now.
Sure.
I'm not sure students were happy with it.
No.
But management imposed it on students. You are the SRC president. Management is imposing something on students. What will you do?
Thank you very much for that question. It's very beautiful that you asked me that question, because it was my everyday reality during the period where the whole online conversation came up. Moses Kouyo, I was one of the key petitioners, together with Daniel Fiawano of Infoport Media, who filed a petition on this matter. And the petition was backed by a collection of data from the student body. So we put out a Google form to collect the views of students. And I had the opportunity, by the mercies and the favor of the Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Aktando, to meet the Pro-Vice Chancellor on this matter. So I'm citing this example because I'm trying to put forward the truth that dialogue is important. Dialoguing with management to understand management's reasons for carrying out certain actions is very important. But notwithstanding that, the people who elected me are the students. That should be clearly established. And my fidelity is to the student body. The decisions that are going to be made by management, my responsibility is to make sure, as part of my constitutional responsibilities, is that it represents students' interests. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to ensure that when I sit on the governing council as espoused by the constitution, whatever decision is going to be taken, I'm not going to be antagonistic towards management, because pushing the hand of management is not what is going to get you the results. It's about dialoguing with management to judge or to meet an amicable conclusion. And I've exhibited that. That is what you get with our tickets. We are not people who come here to come and promise. We've already shown that when the work is given to us,
okay. And I'm sure you did some work on this. I'm sure you did some work on this online thing. What was the outcome?
I didn't get your question. Please come again.
You did some work. You are telling me you met the Dean of Students to the Pro-Vice Chancellor. What was the outcome?
So I met the Pro-Vice Chancellor and the Director of IT, Mr. Michael Tufo, and the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Weston Ambrampa. And we had, together with the Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Aitan, we had productive conversations around this. Now, they made it abundantly clear that there are certain constraints that prevents them from moving the semester back to physical. There are certain constraints that would make it practically impossible for us to move into a physical mode within that period. And when the reasons were espoused to us, as right-thinking members of society, we understood the drift. But we also understood that for an online system to be truly effective, it was important that there were student support mechanisms. And myself and Daniel Fiawanu made a call that, based on the data we've collected, majority of students want a physical mode of learning. But if that is impossible, looking at the current circumstances, they should ensure that the online system is seamless and is error-free. And that is where he invited the Director of IT, Mr. Michael Tufo, where we engaged him. We made known to him the concerns of students from the orientation exercises, the problems they had with joining the orientation, etc. And then we mapped out certain solutions. He gave us certain student support angles that we can take it from to help make the process seamless. So I would say that yes, the outcome was not achieved, but I would rather be remembered as a leader who took the effort and tried to represent the students of interest than someone who folded their arms and said that it can be done.
Okay, so let's end that question there.
Thank you very much.
You are the SRC president. I've come to you as a businessman. You are doing a program, and I want to sponsor. But I have interest in the whole SRC thing, maybe from you appointing whoever. I know the president has the power to appoint the judicial.
To make certain very key announcements. I get you. I understand your drift.
So I am a businessman. I've come to you. You are doing program. You need sponsorship. You need fund. I'm ready to give you that. But I have interest in student politics. That I want you to appoint somebody as maybe the is for the next elections. What will you do? Now you need the money for your program. And I have that interest. Between the two, what will you do?
Thank you very much for the question. It's a very pivotal question, especially within the arena of corruption, financial mismanagement, and misappropriation. Now, I'm a man of principle. I have certain principles that I do not bend, and I do not compromise on for anybody or anything. And my fidelity, as I've already mentioned, is to the student body and to the constitution that's created my office. And so, to respond to your question, it's an outright no. We need the money, but we have dignity. And it is not, we will not sacrifice our dignity on the altar of financial inflow. We'll ensure that we adhere to what the Constitution says, and the Constitution is very clear that it is the president, not the president under the influence of anybody else. It's the president under the influence of anybody else. It is individual. What kind
Any of them you feel to answer?
Okay, sure. Then, well, it would be better to add context so that we save time, but I'll definitely answer it. Thank you. So, in terms of constitutional limits, just like the principles of checks and balances espouse, the General Assembly acts as a check on the Executive Council. So, for example, the executive, which I head, initiates programs and activities. And that those programs and activities must go through General Assembly. That in itself is
That was different from the learning spaces you are talking about.
Yes, please. In this context, yes. So the lecture hall is where we have our every day-to-day classroom activities.
So do we have learning spaces on campuses?
Yes, please. You go to IJ,
okay.
Close to the cafeteria, there's a place that was established by a certain administration. You have two or three lavish benches under a canopy.
Oh, okay, that's the learning space.
Yes, please, that's a learning space. You go to the Osu campus, there are a couple of canopies that have been put together.
I know that. So how can you modernize that tent? I think it's a tent and a bench.
Great.
Yes.
So you take a look at the Osu campus. I know you live very close to the Osu campus. Great. So if you take a look at the canopies, the states that they are in, it's an eyesore if you agree. There are holes in the canopies themselves. When rain falls, students can't even use those spaces. Now, when you go to, for example, I paid a visit to...
Is it that you are going to change the canopy or something?
That's one of the key dimensions. That whatever the learning space needs to meet standard practice, that's what we are going to do. So if the canopies, because if it's raining and students want to use the places and they can't, then what's the essence of having a learning space? Let me finish. Outdoor learning spaces, because of technology and digitalization, if you're not aware, outdoor learning spaces can also have sockets where students can. So I wanted to make an example. I paid a visit to the IO campus at the Accra City campus, close to the UG Accra City campus. That's where one of the IO's campuses are. I paid a visit there, and there's an outdoor learning space where they've been able to use the space wisely, and there are sockets attached to that outdoor learning space. That's one of the things I'm thinking about for some of the outdoor learning spaces that we already have. Modernizing them to ensure that students have a conducive experience.
Okay. Let's be practical here, because I know of Osu campus.
Great.
And looking at the tent and the bench, lavish bench, like I'm trying to understand how you are going to modernize, bring like things like socket, fan.
So what you're asking for is a technical direction. So the technical expertise exists, just like I've given you an example that it's been replicated at IL. So when you go to IL, something like that exists. I do not have the technical expertise or technical know-how. But as a leader, I don't have to know how to do everything. I must know who has the skill sets and resources for me to achieve my aim.
You have to look at the feasibility of it.
So it has been replicated at IO. Are you saying that it can be replicated at IJ? Is that a conversation we're having?
So is it that we are going to change the entire tent there and bring something new? Because I don't know what you are talking about.
So if need be, so I made an example that, for example, the canopies that existed, they have holes in them. And so does that warrant a conducive learning experience in your opinion, if I should ask you? Let me permit me to ask you a question.
Continue with it.
Okay, it doesn't, because if I'm studying then rain is falling and I have to vacate the premises.
So give us like something that we will see. Maybe it will look like this. Maybe we will use roof. Maybe we will do this. Like
so as at this juncture, I can't make those stringent promises. Before you take any action, it's important to ensure that the feasibility studies is done, and then you communicate what the roadmap for achieving the aim is. But we need to establish that. Now, it doesn't mean that the fact that the feasibility studies has not been done yet doesn't mean that it can't be achieved. What I'm saying is that we've seen it replicated elsewhere. What you're asking for is a technical roadmap, which I am not a technical person to communicate. We will find the technical people to do that and achieve the aim that I'm communicating to you. Thank you.
I don't know if any of you have a question on that. I'm just not certain about the explanation though, because I wanted to know how this is going to be, because we already have a plan that we are going to do this thing and bring something else.
So I've said that if the tent is not promoting conducive learning, it has to go and be replaced. Students.
Can you describe that? What you saw at IL?
Great. So at IL, there's an outdoor learning space. So when you walk into the premises, on your right is roofed. So there's a roof over it. I'm trying to describe it, so forgive me, but I'm trying to describe it. So it's a roofed building, but it has very large windows. So it's an outdoor learning space where students can sit to study. Now, there, on the table, they've attached sockets to the table. And I'm sure they're drawing power from the main building. And so, certain students use laptops, mobile phones. They want to study.
Is there a building like this?
No. It's detached from the main building. So it's detached from the main building. There's no building on this campus I can use as a reference point, but it's detached from the main building. So this is the main building. Beyond the main building, there's a space. It's roofed though, but it has large windows. So it's an outdoor space. And then, ordinarily, it's not supposed to have sockets because of the way it is structured. But they have sockets there where students can charge their phones, and I'm sure they're drawing the power from the main building. And that's something I want to replicate. So here we have canopies. And I am cutting our coats according to our cloth. That's why I'm specifically not saying that we're going to construct. I'm saying that first of all, the existing one, we need to modernize them. So if you have canopies, for example, if we need to get new canopies, and then find ways to get sockets in and around the learning space, that is something that would promote conducive learning for students.
How are you going to bring sockets to where it makes the water sockets?
So that's why I mentioned that people have the technical expertise. My job as a leader is to have the vision and find the right people to exemplify the vision.
But the vision you are having is questionable because you are saying that you're going to replace the canopies. Did you say that?
So he was forcing me to give my pictorial view of what I think will happen. And that's why I mentioned that. This works here, but this would work better here. This works here, but this would work better here. That's the point I am making.
So why do you need to go with the technical persons before doing your studies?
Why did I go with a technical expert before doing my studies?
Why didn't you go with them?
Obviously, I'm not yet SRC president. I would have to have a mandate to engage them.
So if you don't know what it will take you to do with them, why are you promising us that you're going to do it to us?
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm making the point that when it comes to carrying out visions, you can have a foundational vision. As a leader, you know where you want to get to. You might not have all the skill sets and resources to be able to carry it out, but you know the people who are able to help you implement the vision. Now, I have seen it being replicated in a sister UniMAC institution. That means that it can be replicated here. The technical fine details is what I do not have currently, and I do not want to lie, because I'm not a technical expert. So also I'm saying that if given the mandate, the feasibility studies will be done comprehensively, and then I can present a report that tells you X wire will go to Y wire, X cannot be removed from here and will be taken here, and then you can make a judgment for yourself. But to say that it is not implementable as at this stage, I would say it's a bit unfair because it has been replicated in other institutions. Thank you.
Okay. Have you been to IFT?
I have been to IFT.
What do you think are some of the challenges on IFT?
Well, the academic challenges run through all the three institutes. So first and foremost, just like any other IL or IJ institution, IFT has academic challenges when it comes to portal issues, registration challenges, research support, etc. But one of the key issues right now that engaging with students, and my running mates made mention of when we're engaging on the future of SRC, is the issue with accommodation. I'm hearing there's a building called Monster that is an uncompleted building, and there are certain... Okay. So an uncompleted building called Monster, and per the description she gave me, there are certain students who have had to move out for refurbishment works to be done to the hostel. That's the information I have at my disposal. But beyond that, certain IFT students that have engaged.
What kind of policies are you going to prepare for us? What's research or who do you speak to when you were coming up with this policy, or when you were telling your what's the name?
Moses.
When you were telling Moses about this?
Okay, thank you. So before we come to a conclusion, we made our analysis. We interrogated a few students. Yes.
Students that are building up the place.
We are not talking about building the place.
We are talking about Monster. That is the topic of discussion.
So that is why I made mention that this is a learning curve. So in your opinion, what do you think is Monster? And we stand to be corrected.
Answer the question. You're not supposed to be asking questions here.
That's why we stand to be corrected.
I am saying that you are drafting a policy document.
Okay.
What did you do before communicating that information to your president? Is that what you're going to be doing when you're in the office? That you will not verify your information before you relay to your president?
Okay. So thank you again for this question. I believe we are in the office to serve students.
Yes.
So we are supposed to do our due diligence to get the right source of information.
Okay.
Now, based on our categories, that is accommodation, welfare, academics, and also sports. Now, when we look at the accommodation, it is segmented into two parts, which is the long term and the short term. Now, in the long term, when you look back into the UniMAC Constitution, it states somewhere in Chapter 12 that there's going to be a 30% fund that is going to be set aside. And looking at this, before we make up a policy, I believe... I understand.
So let's get on the topic Monster.
That is why I stated that we stand to be corrected, because I believe that you were in the school way before we were admitted. So what...
Let's talk about me being in the school. My point is, did you verify that information before giving it to him?
About Monster?
Yes.
So that is why we are standing to...
Verify the information?
No.
Why?
Because it hasn't been implemented. These are suggestions from students. Their analysis.
That you've given him that Monster is going to have accommodation spaces, right? Did you verify that before communicating that to him?
So...
Did you verify that?
No. Because it is a long-term procedure. And we are not including the monster in the reset manual. He was just making reference to monster, not that we are going to renovate
It doesn't negate
monster.
the fact that you mentioned that place is going to have an accommodation facility. It doesn't negate that
So
fact.
we did not state that it is going to have
Did you mention that to him?
So we stated
Did you mention that to him?
yes.
So why did you mention that to him? Whilst it's not true and not verified.
So I don't think we have verified it. It is based on the student analysis.
So why did you mention it to him? No.
So, like I stated before, we are in the office because of the students. We made our research by
What office?
speaking to the office we are vying for.
So you are not in it yet?
We are not in it yet.
Yeah, so don't say you are in the office because of the students.
Okay. So
So
currently,
why did you give him that information?
why did I give him that information?
Whilst
So
it's not
it was
verified.
based, so everybody has the right to have a dialogue with different students.
Good,
Now we have seniors
good.
on the same campus. Now if we make analysis, we ask, we inquire. There are various opinions that will come from different angles. Now we have heard, it's just a speculation.
So you are working with speculation.
We are not working based on speculation. He gave reference to monster.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm speaking to Monster. And you gave information to your boss that that place is going to have an accommodation facility.
Did you say that?
Based on hearsay.
Okay. So,
Did you tell him that?
okay. We apologize, but we
You
stand to be
apologize,
corrected.
but so it means that the BAT is nullifying your apology.
Okay. We stand to be corrected. Educate us.
Thank you.
Okay.
So for Monster, it doesn't have accommodation facility.
That's fine.
It is basically going to be, and even that cry, I don't even want to go there because there are a whole lot of issues with that.
Okay.
So it is not something you can rely on.
Okay.
That's an advice to you.
But before you move on, let me just respond to probably the drift was lost at a certain point. When I made reference to Monster, what I sought to say is that with my engagement with students, they mentioned that is their personal interpretation of what Monster is supposed to be. But if you take a look at our policy document, we never mentioned anywhere that Monster is part of our plan for accommodation. That's what she was trying to say. Please have your attention. Yes, so what we are saying is that with our engagement with students, they felt that Monster was one of the key solutions to the accommodation challenge. And they mentioned it, and that was the feedback we got. But we never said that in any way, in the breathtaking research manual, we never said anywhere that Monster is one of the things we want to do to be able to alleviate the accommodation challenge. It was one of the pieces of feedback we received that was mentioning to you. And then, as she mentioned, this is a learning curve. We are student leaders who are always willing to learn and listen. And since you have been at the helm of affairs, we are very grateful if you educate us. And so, please pardon us. Thank you.
Okay. So back to the same question you were on about the learning
Conducive learning
area
spaces.
and
Yes, please.
learning spaces and all that. What's your plan for IFT? Because we don't even have where to sit, not to talk of where to go and learn. So what's
Please, when
your
you
plan?
say you don't have where to sit,
I mean, when you, like in your earlier statement, you said when you're, is it him or the other candidate? That's when your class is not up yet and you're on campus, you don't even have
Yeah, I
a place
mentioned
to
that.
hang around and all. Yes, so what's your plan for IFT? Not to talk, because you're saying you're going to, in all your delivery, you're saying you're going to renovate. We don't have at all to be renovated or modernized.
great.
So what's your plan for IFT?
Great. And so, if you take a look at the research manual, I mentioned that it's layered. So I said that modernize the existing learning spaces and then establish new ones if necessary. So you take the first portion of the document. I mentioned that we are going to be modernizing the learning space, and that is for those that already exist. For campuses that we've noticed that they do not have, this is very key. And let's not lose sight of the fact that students need spaces to learn beyond the classrooms, especially when we are dealing with an institution that does not have hostel facilities, or the hostel facilities, there are challenges with securing them. So for campuses that we identify that these campuses do not have at all, we will start from scratch and look at the most cost-effective way of setting up some of these learning spaces for these campuses.
And have you done any feasibility studies in that regard?
And setting up new learning spaces?
Yes.
Feasibility studies in terms of how much it will cost, or
anything at all on that in that regard?
Well, if you are starting from scratch and you need to set up a new learning space, per the conversations that I've had with some of my student leaders, peers in UG, Kenya, etc., you need between 10,000 Ghana to 20,000 Ghana cedis to set up a small learning space. That is the provision of chairs, the provision of desks, and anything else that will be conducive enough for students to have those learning spaces. So that's the conversation we've had.
But have you even inquired whether you would have the space or the land to even put that thing up?
So I have noticed that when you go to IFT, for example, the East Continents, when you enter on your right, under the tree, they already have lovers bench. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm calling them lovers
bench. When you
bench.
enter which of the studios? She can help you.
Yes.
Yes, Studio 3.
Studio 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, once you enter, I think the security checkpoints on your left and on your right. I've seen two lovers benches. They're in a very deplorable state, if you ask me. I think that space, first, we need to start something. I'm not promising heaven, and it's true that these matters are very cost-intensive matters, but I believe in at least starting something small, that even if it's going to help 1 to 5 students, 5 to 10 students, is something that is substantial. So when you enter, on your right, I've seen two lovers benches. I'm calling them lovers benches for want of a better word. There's some space there. I'm looking at, if we clear that space and we provide at least suitable bench, because those benches, I've noticed that they look a bit rotten and decayed. If we provide suitable benches, we beautify the place a bit, we designate that spot, we cordon up that spot and designate it in a way that when students want a place to sit on campus, they could go there and study. That is a starter. That's what I mean by establishing new learning spaces. I'm not saying that I'm going to construct state-of-the-art learning space. That's what I mean. Thank you.
Okay. Over to you, Honorable Prince.
Okay, so I think I've seen 10K. You mentioned it earlier, but I didn't pay attention to that. So if you can...
Sorry. One thing just in the same regard. You mentioned that, yes, on 10K, you said first semester you raised...
We're looking at raising 10,000 Ghana cedis.
First semester?
First semester,
yes.
Do you know how long your administration is going to...
Even the first semester ends around February, ending of March, beginning of March.
And do you know that you're already in the first semester?
So I am referring to... So that's an expression. I mean that the first semester of my administration. So when the first years come, that's what...
Yes, your first semester is going to be from ending of February, January to like March.
Beginning of March. February ending.
That's the first semester.
The first semester for our administration.
Yes.
If we are not taking into consideration the first years,
they are all parts.
Okay, so we did a calculation different. We thought when we at the first years, it will start from that period.
No.
All right, sure, that's fine.
So are you still standing by that 10,000?
Yes, please, I am.
Within that 1.5 months?
1 month. Yes.
Well, the revenue mobilization plan for that fund is very clear, and I have already started engaging.
Tell us about it.
Thank you very much for the question. I knew we were moving into that direction. And so, when you take a look at support, the term support for our institution, over the years we have spoken a lot about alumni, and I have the joy of watching some of my colleagues come here and they mention the same word alumni. Now, with my engagement with alumni, because I do a lot of work with the school, and because I'm in the media space, I work with a lot of people who have worked a part of UniMAC before. One of the key things they want to do is contribute to credible initiatives that UniMAC is putting up to better the lives of students. So the issue here is not an unavailability of resources. The issue here is the absence of initiatives that they can contribute to. And so the UniMAC Endowment Fund in itself already existed. In fact, the seed money for the previous UniMAC IG Endowment Fund was 30,000 Ghana cedi. We started with 30,000 Ghana cedi. Now, I have pegged it a bit lower because now,
I think that is for IG, not
yes,
UniMAC.
but that's what I mentioned. I said the original UniMAC IG endowment fund. It was 30,000 Ghana cedi. The reason why I've even pegged it lower is because this time we're not relying okay, so let me go into it for those who don't know. In the UniMAC IG endowment fund bill, the monies were coming from allocations that were made by the SRC. So it's coming from the student's office. And so 30,000 was allocated to the endowment fund. I even pegged it lower because we are now going to seek for external support. Now, imagine we tax 5 members of our beautiful alumni to contribute 2,000 Ghana cedis. 2,000 Ghana cedis times 5 is 10,000 Ghana cedis. So it doesn't seem like a far-fetched reality. It's about strategically positioning our university to engage with these people to contribute. And I'm telling you, if by the grace of God and the everlasting mercy of Allah, we are given the opportunity to fill that office, we are making this promise that we can even...
If we are not able to do that?
Will I resign if I'm unable to raise the 10,000 Ghana cedis? Well, I believe that challenges exist when you're rolling out policies.
Would you resign?
No, I will not resign.
Why?
Because I believe that when you set out a policy target, there are certain challenges that might come up that might prevent you from implementing that policy target. The solution is not to resign. The solution is to report back to the student body, be transparent to them as to why you could not meet that target, and promise them about the achievement of the target and what you are doing to do. You need to restore faith in administration when you do that. That is what I'm going to do. So resigning and chickening out is not the way to go. Engaging the student body on why the timelines we set were not good enough and why we need to readjust the timelines is what I'll do. Thank you.
You call you resigning because you were not able to fulfill your promise to students chickening out?
In this context, yes, because we believe that it can be done. Maybe there were certain challenges that emanated, that prevented us from achieving those targets. And I'm a man that does not like to leave my business unfinished. And so if the opportunity is given, we would speak. And this, I always say, the consent must come from the student body. The student body needs to understand why certain actions are being taken. Their problem is not that sometimes you're unable to fulfill certain promises. The problem is the lack of information as to why you can't fulfill those promises. So what I'm going to do is to report back to the student body. We set a target. For XYZ reasons, we're unable to meet that target. This is what we intend to do to ensure that the promises that we've made are achieved. Then I engage.
So what you are telling us is that
even in the corporate world, even in the highest level of governance, even when budgets are even drafted at the national level, key performance indicators are not always met, even in the corporate world. We don't call them excuses. What we do is that we reassess, realign, and ensure that those targets are met in the long run. And so I'm a man that does not take excuses. I'm going to put my hand to the wheel and do my best to ensure the targets are met. But if in any case, those targets are unable to be met, my duty is to go back to the people who sent me to work for them and then make them understand that because of XYZ reasons, and you see, we are dealing with a very discerning student body. When you explain to them and explain to them properly, with facts and figures, with information that is credible, they will make a decision and say, okay, yes, Moses wanted to give us this, but because of XYZ, he couldn't. Let us support him to be able to give us that. Thank you very much.
okay, I'll come back again. So
I still have your
The research manual.
the research manual, and with welfare interventions, you stated that I think the short-term goals. You stated health and well-being initiatives, regular health screening, vaccination drives, and wellness campaigns across IJ, IFT, and IL. Can you expand that for me so I can ask?
Well, we are aware of the popular saying that our health is our wealth, and it's important that as a student body, if we want to contribute to the academic and social lives of our student body, they must be in good health. What we are saying is that we're going to be rolling out initiatives within those areas. So from time to time, partnering with the relevant institution, vaccinating drives for certain diseases and illnesses will be organized.
Okay, so you mentioned regular health screenings. How regular is this going to be?
As and when it's necessary. So I keep saying that we are partnering with certain key institutions. And if these health screenings, for example, should be organized semesterly based on the strength. It's one thing that we don't want to do as an administration.
So every semester we expect health professionals on campus to screen us.
If need be.
Is it going for free or you are going to pay for it?
The idea is to do free health screening. Doing free health screenings are things that have been replicated by even the meanest of people. So if SRC as an institution wants to do a free health screen and partner with a health institution, that should not be beyond us. So the focus is to at least ensure that health screenings are free.
So every semester we expect health professionals to be on campus to screen us for free.
That is the focus.
Are you doing it this semester?
When
you become president, are you doing it this
Yes,
semester?
we're going to get to work. We are going to ensure that it's done within the shortest possible time.
Okay. And you mentioned vaccination drives.
So I've already touched on that. I mentioned that there are certain illnesses that from time to time we need to vaccinate against. And so the Ghana Health Service is always looking for partners. If you engage with them, I work with certain key government stakeholders, and they're always looking for partners. They're looking for institutions to partner with in this regard. And so the timing will be decided together with these partner institutions to be able to roll out some of these health and wellness initiatives. And one of them is the vaccination drive. Thank you.
Okay, so you have safe transport and campus mobility. If you can.
The hurdle that must be crossed. We must visit the conversation of transportation.
Does it mean that in case we all don't live together, like having a traditional hostel or something?
I'm struggling to hear you.
Is it a case that in a case we all live, like we all come from different places, and now you want to transport students to campus?
I never said that. That is your understanding of the policy. So permit me to explain
further.
Thank you. Now, I was mentioning safe mobility, and the focus is in and around campus. Now, if we take a look at
what?
In and around campus.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was making the point here that when it comes to mobility around campus, it's sometimes difficult. Students commute from long distances, and then, for example, if you're going to those two campuses, you get to, what's it called? Police headquarters, and then you have to walk that distance, etc. There have been conversations that I'm having back there with certain ride-hailing apps and certain transport companies to ensure that certain student packages are given to UniMAC students. And these are things that are replicated for even events. So if you go to Kouyo Smoke's revival concert, both gives you a code. You are given a discount for attending that event. You go to certain events. The partnerships exist. I'm always saying that it's about strategically positioning university to offer something to exchange of value. So I'm taking a look at partnering with some of these organizations. I can mention some of them: Bolt, Yango, Uber, Okada Moto. Thankfully, Okada Moto is being owned by someone whose wife is, and you know the person is within our institution. And if we're able to strike a meaningful partnership where students get affordable rates to be able to move in and around campus, I'm sure that students will be singing hallelujah at the end of the day. So those are the kind of things that we are looking at. I am not going to promise to build a bus. There is the Impuntuo Fund that is taking a look at, in Chapter 12 of our Constitution, that is taking a look at capital-intensive projects. The long term, I am saying for a fact, in the long term, if successive administrations manage our finances well, UniMAC will be able to get a hostel, able to get a bus. But my administration is taking a look at addressing the current realities with the resources that we have and making sure that at least we alleviate the suffering of students. And that is how we're going to
do. And do you think students will subscribe to this? Because let's say also campus, a lot of people are like that, police headquarters. And in the case where maybe you have a partnership with, let's say, Okada Motors, and you want Okada Motors to pick students from OSU, from police headquarters to campus, do you think students will subscribe to this?
Students have already been complaining about it. I'm saying the feedback that we've gotten from our engagements is what has gone into the shaping and the policy direction. So if you ask me if I think, yes, I do, because some people say they get to, some of the board public transport, they get to police headquarters, and the distance is too Herculean for them.
And do you think they can afford, I don't know what the charges will be, I don't know what the MOU will be, but do you think students can afford paying for just, I'm not sure it's even up to 3 kilometers?
Well, are you asking if they can afford?
Yes.
But the purpose of the policy direction is to reduce rates. And that is why we are looking. So for example, if somebody wants to order a ride, it will be higher if we don't have a partnership with these institutions. If they want to order a ride, for example, from maybe police headquarters to those two campuses, it will be higher. What I'm saying is that we are looking at ensuring that there are affordable rates, incentives for students to be able to easily move in and around campus. And so, yes, it will be cheaper if it's not going to be cheaper than the status quo right now.
So for you, when maybe you're coming with a public transport, you alight at police headquarters, and you intend ordering ride from police headquarters to campus. and let's say the ride will take about 5 minutes before it gets there, will you still wait for the 5 minutes?
Will I still wait for the 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm saying that the institutions will be tailored specific to the campuses. For that distance you are mentioning, Okada Motors will be the best. So imagine that there's a designated checkpoint for Okada Motors for IG students. We get there and there's a standard rate. If you go to the University of Ghana, Legon, for example, the SRC has partnered with the Taxi Drivers Association to establish standard rates for moving between certain distances.
Okay.
So if Okada Motors says the standard rate from the police headquarters to the Osu campus is 5 Cs. It's a standard rate if I agreed on it. Anybody who gets to that point, the only thing they have to do is, for example, a form of student identification and then pay their standard rate, and they're commuted to campus inconvenience.
Thank you. Silence, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are you done?
Yes, so I give it.
Okay, so I have here inclusivity and safety programs. Let me read. Policies to protect student rights, promote inclusivity, and create a safe campus environment for all.
Elaborate. Thank you. So there are already certain human rights organization student chapters on campus. So if you take Amnesty International, they exist on campus. And the duty is to educate people about their rights, how to express them and how to defend them. We believe that it's important that we give people, arm them with the information that they need to be able to freely exercise their rights and defend it when it's being trampled on. My administration is committed to ensuring that we partner with these organizations to organize symposiums, conferences, seminars, and ensure that there is an outpouring of knowledge on these matters so that students can be well informed to be able to take the necessary actions if any of their rights are being trampled on. I would mention again that in the policy documents, the research manual, I said there is the availability of policies that seek to create a safe campus for all. We know the matters of sexual harassment that exist. I watched your grueling session with the Gender Affairs Commissioner, where we spoke about the sexual harassment policy and all that. We believe that a campus must be safe for everybody, regardless of your gender or regardless of whatever social status that you possess. My administration, and as head of that administration, I'm willing to work with the Gender Affairs Commission and the internal administration to ensure that we create a safe campus for all. Now, again, I'm going to be mentioning that to be able to do this, it is information that students must have. So when certain things, for example, like sexual harassment exist or has been targeted towards someone, what do they do? People do not have the answers. They don't understand what they need to do to be able to enjoy a certain level of redress to their matter. My responsibility as leader of the UniMAC fraternity is to ensure that people feel safe. And these are some of the ways that I'm going to be doing that. Thank you.
So you are a human rights advocate. You advocate that people's rights be respected, right?
I believe that every human being is a human rights advocate because human rights are innate things that must be enjoyed by everybody. So as of the fact that I am a human being, yes, I am a human rights advocate.
Okay, so if you are voted as the SRC president, I come to you with a concern about somebody, that the person is an LGBTQ plus. I don't know the other numbers. What will you do?
So rights operate within the remit of the law and what the Constitution says. And so if we take our cultural framework that exists, even though there's a bill that has been placed before Parliament that is seeking certain considerations, we know what the law says about unnatural sexual relations. And unnatural sexual relations, it encompasses what you just mentioned, the LGBTQ plus fraternity. So as someone who has been approached by someone who is part of the Rainbow fraternity, I believe that it's important to ensure that the person understands the society and framework they find themselves in. That is, you can't practice such activities within the UniMAC social cultural framework. But what I also believe is that your rights to ensure that you enjoy whatever sexual preference you have them is customized to yourself. And I will not allow.
Hold on. Do you know what the anti-LGBT bill says?
It's a bill. It's not a law, so it's not in function.
Yes, but do you know what it states?
Fundamentally, it seeks to criminalize the activities of LGBTQ plus perpetrators.
Okay, so let's say this bill, because those people that champion the bill are in government. So let's say the bill is passed to become a law.
Permit me to wipe my. Okay. Thank you very much.
So the bill is passed to become a law. Now somebody comes to you to tell you that this person is engaged in that act. what will you do as a president?
So someone comes to me to tell me that someone has broken the law. What will I do?
Yeah.
As a law-abiding citizen and someone who shows fidelity to the Constitution and the law, my responsibility will be to adhere to what the law says. Now, the bill is not just a law, so we can't stipulate what it's going to be.
And I'm giving you an instance where it has been passed to become a law.
So adhere to what the law says.
I know those people that championed this bill during the previous administration.
So adhere to what the law says.
So you adhere to
the law mandates I report to the person. Because you notice that the bill in itself seeks to also provide support to people who are of the spectrum. So it is not entirely negative. There are counseling services, there are certain medical procedures that can be conducted for these people to receive the needed help. So it is not negative. The reason why I do not want us to go into the basic tenets of the bill is because it has not become a law yet. But hypothetically speaking, if it's established as a law, whatever the law spells out, that as a citizen, when I view certain activities of such people, what I am mandated to do, that is exactly what I'm going to adhere to, without fear of favor. Thank you.
Just a follow-up question. As an SRC president, will you encourage LGBTQ on campus?
I've already mentioned
why
that.
And why not? I want you to be clear on it.
Sure. My response to that
is SRC president and a human rights activist. Yes.
My response to that is no. I will not encourage it. And the reasons are very clear. We do not operate in a banana republic. Our country is governed by laws. It's governed by edicts, it's governed by rules and regulations. And people who live in a civilized society must adhere to them. Now, if you have these challenges, the bill that is being enacted has certain redresses that you can seek. But as it stands now, the current criminal code criminalizes unnatural relations. And I can't support something that both our culture and the law frowns upon. That would be tantamount to a travesty against the law and to against the cultural edicts that have been raised by. So no, I can't support it, but I can provide support to people who are going through it for them to revert to what the original state is. Thank you.
Okay, and let me talk to Miss Milady. Miss Milady. You've been silent for a while, so we want to talk to you. As running mate, no. Let's assume you've finally found yourself in the office. Let's assume you finally found yourself in the office of the vice president. And your president is away on business. So you are at that moment acting in his stead. And there is a decision that has to be made. Mind you can't reach him. There is a decision that has to be made. You knowing your boss, you know that it goes against his ethics, what he stands for, and all of that. But it is something that the student body is clamoring for. What are you going to do?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. So I believe that in as much as we are all in the UniMAC institution, we have laws that we abide by, which is the Constitution. Now, what exactly, or in what context, what are the students yearning for? Is it right? Is the Constitution in support of whatever they are demanding for? So we take it from that aspect. But if not, then I don't see why I should be in support of something that is not in accordance with the Constitution.
Even though it goes against the interest of your boss?
If it goes against the interest of my boss. Please, you stated that I have not been able to reach my boss. So how do I know that it is in interest or not in interest of my boss?
Do you know his interests? As it stands now?
Yes.
Okay. So now.
So let's take it from the interest. The interest is to be a mediator between the management and the student body.
That's his only interest as it stands now.
And to serve the interest of the students.
Okay.
Yes.
So now the students are clamoring for something to be done. I'm trying not to go into certain things that have been happening on our campus. But the interest of your boss is against that. And at the moment, you are the one acting in his stead and have to make certain decisions for the student's body. How are you going to handle that?
So again, in what context? What are they looking for? What are they? What are the students?
So let's say it has to do with their rights as students.
Their rights as students. And what is their rights as students?
I think I should be asking you that.
Okay. So that is why I started by saying if it is in accordance to the UniMAC Constitution, then why not?
Okay.
Yes.
So would you say you're loyal to your boss?
We are both loyal to the Constitution and the interest of the students.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Should you lose this election, would you still contribute positively to the SRC and the students' body?
Thank you, Madam Chair. 100%. Okay. Because currently I'm serving the student body. So whether or not I win, we are still in it's an inner or it's a deep yearn to serve.
Okay.
Not to we are not forcing to be leaders because we want to be leaders. We want to serve. Yes.
So let's say after 2 months of being voted into power, and you realize that your main campaign message or your main campaign promise is unrealistic, how would you handle that with the students?
Okay. So following up on thank you, Madam Chair. So following up on the replies and response my president gave, soon to be, he made mention of not checking out on certain decisions and promises we make concerning the
10K.
Yes.
issue?
No, not the 10K. The whole policy, the resets. Yes, the resets manual. So the whole policy in one. He made mention that he wouldn't step out because we are not able to meet up certain policies we have offered, but rather discuss. It's a dialogue. Let the students understand that these are the proceedings that we started, but these are the circumstances that have hindered us. And they would understand it's all about dialogue.
You think they will?
It's all about dialogue.
Okay. What is your motto?
Motto, UniMAC, NAFTI.
The campaign motto.
The Come Along agenda.
Sorry?
The Come Along agenda.
Explain it to me.
We believe in our students. We believe this office is to serve the students. So we cannot make decisions without them. So we are pleading on their behalf, not to force them to vote for us, but to understand our policies and see if it benefits them. And if it does, why not? They should come along.
Okay. Mr. President, in the making, or aspiring president. Sorry, not in the making. Forgive me, audience.
I believe you're in the spirit. You're in the spirit. You are prophesying. And we receive it in good
Mr. Moses.
That's fine.
Then we try to recollect.
I'd prefer if I could get water, because my throat is dry. So.
Yeah, let me just one question here for clarification.
Sure, that's fine.
I've seen SRC Day volunteerism.
Okay.
So empowerment through action. We will launch a dedicated day where students led by the SRC take ownership of their environment.
The midpoint. So if you could start the question, I didn't hear. Okay.
I'm reading from your own policy.
No, you started from the midpoint because at the point we couldn't hear. So please start.
Okay,
over.
so
Thank
the
you.
SRC Day volunteerism.
Thank you.
Okay. So empowerment through action. We will launch a dedicated day where students led by the SRC take ownership of their environment, from painting of cafeterias to refurbishing lecture halls. This initiative fosters a culture of teamwork, pride, and shared responsibility for the spaces we use every day. Tell us how you are going to do this.
Thank you very much for the leading. The SRC Day of Volunteerism is one of our flagship policies. Now, we've come to the realization that, am I permitted to drink the water before?
Yeah, drink the water.
All right, sure. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, there's a question.
Thank you very much for allowing me to drink some water. Now, back to what I was saying. I was saying that the SRC Day of Volunteerism is one of our key flagship policies. Now, we've come to the realization that for us to achieve the level of development that we want UniMAC to see, it's important that we create avenues for students to be part of the developmental agenda. And that is what the SRC Day of Volunteerism is. So the basic concept is that we are going to designate 2 days in each semester where students on the relevant campuses, sorry for saying relevant, students on the campuses, the relative campuses, would have a participatory role in taking up an initiative on campus. So what's going to happen is that as the Central Executive Committee, our responsibility is to seek for resources, financial support for students on the various campuses to take up volunteering initiatives. So let me give you a practical example. If you take the cafeteria at the OSU campus, forgive me for using those examples, I am a bit more conversant with it because I come from IG. The cafeteria is in a semi-deplorable state. It's not painted. Now, imagine that we set a day aside where students on campus come to campus, we give them a very conducive environment, music, food, etc., and they take up the responsibility of painting the cafeteria themselves. What we are going to be doing is going to provide the paint supplies they need. So we are going to seek for the support. Partnership with, for example, a paint supply company, a paint manufacturing company, etc. They provide us with the supplies that we need, and students will come to campus. Together, we take the cafeteria as our personal pet project. So IJ will take the cafeteria as their personal pet project and paint the cafeteria.
How do you? Is the cafeteria for the school?
It's the cafeteria for the school.
Yes.
It serves the students of the school.
So if because
Should I fire one?
yeah, is it a private something that somebody is operating?
Once it serves the students of the school, the state in it that is in matters to the student body. It serves the students of the school. So the state of that cafeteria matters to the student body. That's the point I'm making. So if we can take action to ensure that it looks better, why not?
Now the student body is going to paint something that belongs to somebody, not even the school, because it serves them.
Who does the cafeteria serve? Students go there to eat. So if it's in a better state,
It doesn't serve us as in we go there and they give. Yes, we pay for it.
Trotro serves us.
No.
Yeah,
When the
serves
trotro
us.
breaks down, are you going to repair it for the driver?
No, this is different. This is on campus. Mind you, it's not a fully private enterprise because the rental space there belongs to the university. Let's make that distinction clear. So for you to say it's a fully private enterprise, it's not, forgive me, but it's not entirely accurate. It is a partnership where the rental space is leased out to the private operators. And if you're waiting for the private operators to decide to refurbish the place, then I'm sure we'll wait for a very long time because it is a profit-making initiative. They are focused on making profit. But we are also focused on creating a conducive environment for students to eat. So what if we can seek for external support, get what students we need to ensure the place looks better? I think it was
How do you intend to get students to buy into this idea? Because I'm asking this because even students on IFT, when you invite them to even come and eat, they won't come. How much more come and paint? How do you intend? How do you intend to get them to buy into this idea of coming to work?
I think you are, to a large extent, forgive my language, underselling the interest of students in our SRC. The challenge with successful administrations is the lack of engagement with students and presenting them. If students believe that if I am playing a participatory role in the development and in the enrichment of my SRC, they will put their hands to the wheel and do they will put their hands to the wheel and do whatever it takes to do that. In terms of
the caliber of students, the people who make up the students, do you know the demography? Do you know the kind of people who are students in IFT?
Well, attitudes and behavioral tendencies change. Based on
I'm not talking about attitude. Do you know the kind of people in terms of age range, what they do, their engagement with student activities and all that? Do you know that?
Yes, I am aware that there's a certain level of apathy towards student activities. And
that is not my question.
You asked me what they do, involvement in student activities, and I'm responding. So I'm saying that it is my opinion. I'm telling you that for my engagements, the demography points to the fact that some students are less interested in student activities because of their industry-related responsibilities. And so I'm saying that it's all about presenting a credible plan and credible outcomes to the student body. That will be enough to achieve behavioral changes and outcomes. If students believe that the SRC is going to be doing something fundamental that can change the lives of students and impact them positively, why not? They will hop on the bus. But the problem is that there's been a lack of engagement over the years, where the SRC looks at sits at the far end of the divide, and students feel alienated from them. But that is going to be a thing of the past under the next Kouyo led administration. From the get-go, we are going to engage the students. We're going to make them feel a part. And that's why the underpinning pillar of our agenda is the come along agenda. That means that we are not the ones going to bring the development. We are partnering with students to achieve the developmental outcomes that UniMAC must enjoy. So everybody must come along. And once we present a credible initiative, I'm sure students will want to be a part of it. Thank you.
Okay. Now, the question I forgot. How do you rate the previous administration?
Previous administration...
On a scale of 1 to 10.
You have to be specific because there are three different administrations.
Immediate past of IG.
Of IG?
Yes.
I think I've already answered the question, but I'll do so again. I give them a solid 4 over 10.
4 over 10?
Yes, please.
Give it to your vice. Your running mate. How would you rate the current or outgoing SRC executives?
Okay, thank you. I would say
of IFT.
Of IFT. I'll give you a 5.
Why?
Why? Because I believe you've done your best.
And our best is 5. Okay. Do you... No, keep the mic. Do you believe in... Do you believe in mandates of your presidents? Do you know that the president has certain mandates to do certain things?
Yes.
You believe in that, right?
Yes.
Good. There was a case on IFT regarding some appointments.
Okay.
Do you believe that the president can appoint people?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So in the case I'm referring to, can you narrate what's happened, if you know the case I'm talking about?
Okay. I would like you to clarify.
Okay, the case about appointing people to serve on this committee.
Which people in particular? So that I can understand.
Appointing Esinam to serve on this committee.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. So I solely believe in the president's mandate to appoint someone who is qualified and can do the job. However, it is a different case when slots are being opened for other students to contest. Then it becomes a different case altogether. So if you tell me that I have the right to select students from my department and we provide the information, I believe that they ought to be interrogated. But if they are left without information, without feedback, of course, then all the question or all hands points to me. And if you do not have anything to tell them, I believe it is right to firsthand inquire from the president. Yes. or your general cause rep first of all, then it moves to your vice, then your president, on what is the feedback concerning the action that was taken. Yes.
So when you inquired, what was the answer given to you?
On this particular case?
Yes.
So I was told that there are other slots available in the EC position if I want to, if my the people I have selected, they want to be on the EC committee, I should inform them. And I relayed back the information that I am in no place to make that decision. However, the president ought to communicate back to them and also clarify what conspired
before that
the
option
decision
was given to you. What did the president tell you with regards to this?
Come again?
Before this information that you are talking about, what did the president tell you with regards to this?
In the same.
Yes, we are talking about the appointments.
Okay, so first of all, to be honest, I did not receive the information firsthand from the president. I got the information from the one that was appointed, not the president.
Okay, yes. So are you on the platform that circulates information to students?
Yes.
Did you see that information on that platform?
No.
Is it on the platform?
I believe so.
So why didn't you see it?
I stand for the motion that people have various activities and things that can occupy them.
So is it the fault of the person who put the information on the platform that you didn't see it?
When you say I did not see it, please what do you mean?
You are just saying that you didn't see it, right? You are just asserting to the fact
please,
that you didn't see it.
I did not see what exactly?
You didn't see the message that was communicated on the platform that relays information to the students.
Please, what message exactly?
So what message did you answer to in the first place?
Okay, so
what message did you say you got from the student?
Okay, thank you for the question. So the first message I saw was from the one that was appointed as to the proceedings and the elections and who to choose based on departments. And also the information I got or I saw on the platform was the deadline, which I later pleaded that it would be extended because it was in a haste for me to make a decision for over how many students? 40 students. Around what time? 10, which is not conducive. Yes.
So let's wrap it up.
Okay.
I remember you were told, and a document was circulated or read to you per the mandate of whoever made the appointment.
Which document, and how do you know it was gotten to me?
It wasn't a document read to you when we had a meeting.
What document?
Wasn't any document read to you when we had the meeting?
Are you talking about this?
On this same topic. Wasn't a
the vetting procedure?
I am asking, we are speaking about something.
Oh, okay. SNAM's issue. Okay, sure.
Wasn't a document read to you?
No. That is why I'm saying that
there was no document read to you when we had the meeting.
No.
Wow.
Is it the meeting online? Which you were hosted?
Okay.
It was hosted by the vice and the president.
Your answer to that question, no.
Let me get it clear before. Are you talking about the virtual meeting we had to deliberate on what conspired?
Which other meeting did we have?
That was the meeting.
So if I'm talking about meeting, then what meeting am I talking about?
Okay, so if that is the meeting, I had a call from the vice trying this.
Was a document read to
It wasn't a document.
Okay, so then we can end it.
It wasn't a document.
It wasn't a document. What was
it? It was a phone call, and I have a witness.
So
yes,
no document was read to
her. There was a phone call on the
meeting. Panel member Ernest, I think we can end it there. Since no document was read to her, and it's being recorded live, right? So no document was read to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Madam Chair. Moses.
Sir,
How are you doing?
fantastic.
All right. Are you the one to take UniMAC to the promised land?
We are all taking ourselves to the promised land together.
Okay. My first question is, if one campus has 70% of the student population, should it get 70% of SRC funding? Why or why not?
Well, I genuinely do not believe in such financial appropriations. I believe that resources are located on a need base, and the resources are located to address specific issues. So there must be equity, and equity means that you are distributing resources based on needs. So the resources are distributed to address whatever challenges that exist on those campuses. So regardless of the population, you can have 70% population, but you might not have the degree or level of problem that other campuses have. Our administration is seeking on distributing resources to address tangible problems on the campuses. And if it means that the 70% campus needs more, yes. If they don't, no. So it's going to be need-based allocation, not based on population, not based on any other demographic or variable. We are going to distribute resources according to the needs. That is going to be the fundamental thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. During your submission, I heard you mention General Assembly. I hope you are familiar with the Constitution.
Yes, to a large extent.
Okay. What is the formation of the General Assembly?
The composition.
Yes.
The composition of the General Assembly. So we have the Speaker of General Assembly. So he's the administrative head of General Assembly. We have the deputy speakers. We have, I think that it's still a draft, but there's going to be the inclusion of the Defendant General, who is also going to be part of General Assembly. We have reps from various constituencies as part of the General Assembly. We also have JCR leaders, so JCR reps will also be part of the General Assembly. Those are the ones I remember for now. These are the fundamental members of the composition of General Assembly. Thank you.
Okay, so you are promised a sponsorship that could benefit one campus, but it would worsen inequality.
I'm really struggling to hear you, honestly.
Okay. You are promised a sponsorship that could benefit one campus, but would worsen inequality among others. Do you accept it? How do you justify your decision?
Well, the end goal of this whole UniMAC merger is to ensure that there's unity. And I'm not a president who is seeking to widen the gap of equality or inequality or any of the variables within the equality conversation. And so, no, I'm not going to accept that sponsorship. Rather, we'll have to have a reconsideration of that sponsorship in a way that it benefits the campuses that is being targeted. Because what is the essence of propping up one campus or one institute over the others? It defeats the purpose of even the merger, the unity and unification that we are seeking to achieve. It defeats that purpose. And so, no, I won't accept that sponsorship. Thank you.
Okay. So, if elected, what one bold initiative would you implement to unify all three campuses under a single SRC vision? Why do you believe it will work?
Well, I think a lot of my colleagues have espoused different ideas concerning this whole unification thing. But I believe that there are two key things that we can do. And one of those key things is the use of sports. So if you take a look at the sporting fraternity across campus, we share the same understanding that the sporting culture across all the campuses needs to be revitalized. We need to create a forum where people from IL, IFT, IG can engage in one singular activity that brings us together. And that is why if you take a look at the sports policies in my document, we have what we call the UniMAC Sports League. Now the UniMAC Sports League is seeking to create a sports environment, a league, a semester league where IL would present a sporting team, IG will present a sporting team, IFT will present a sporting team, management will also present a sporting team, and would engage in various sporting activities. Imagine on a weekly basis, we have IL students, we have IFT students come to cheer their sporting men on. Look at the vibrancy and the principle of unity we'll be espousing in our measure. That's one of the key things. Secondly, there's also one thing I want to do, which is an annual gathering at the end of every semester. What is going to be the homecoming ceremony. I'm saying homecoming because it's an expression that is used to explain when people from different diverse backgrounds come to one place. So we want to do a gathering, an annual gathering, where we, at the end of every semester, bring together IL students, IJ students, and IFT students to jaw and take a look at what we've been able to achieve in the semester, what can be done better, and how we can move forward. I am deeply sure that if those activities are rolled out, we will create an environment and a forum where students can engage with IJ students engaging with IFT students engaging with IS students, and we create a culture where we understand that UniMAC is not 3, but we are 1. Thank you.
Yo, did I hear you right? You said IL represent a team.
So to participate, they have to have a team to represent them.
IJ also present a team.
The institute to have teams.
And then IFT also present a team. Don't you think that you are further worsening the issue of us coming together as one?
Well, healthy competitions are one of the ways that we foster unity. And
no. When we become president, we don't have IL, we don't have IG, we don't have IFT.
Well, thank you. I have a challenge with that reasoning, because in even the Act 2020, if you take the UniMAC Act, the Act that establishes UniMAC. So in principle, we can't run away from the fact that we have constituent institutes. There's IL, there's IG, there's IFT. Let's be honest. What the Dean of Student Affairs is communication about, we don't have IL, we don't have IFT, we don't have IG. He's seeking to say that we should not see ourselves as independent members of those constituent institutes. And IG students should see a student from IL as their brother or sister. So he's saying that in practice, even though the structure says that we have IG, we have IL, we have IFT, we need to understand the sense of belonging and brotherhood that should exist between all the three campuses. But if we say we don't have IL, we don't have IFT, we don't have IG, that is contrary to the Act that establishes. So we take Act 2020. The Act that establishes the UniMAC, it's clearly spelled out there that the structural element is IG, IL, IFT. And we can't run away from it. That is our identity. We need to create events, initiatives, and programs that will bring us together. That will make us feel that we are one. And one of those ways is
one of the core mandates of the SRC president is to do away with this IL, IG, and IFT issue.
So it's a.
You believe me or not?
When you say do away, you'd have to explain, because the UniMAC draws its powers from
so
the Act.
That they'll not be like IL, IJ, they'll be UniMAC.
Please, do you agree that the Act clearly spells out that we have IL, IG, IFT? Do you agree? Have you read the Act?
I am telling you that one of the main mandates of the SRC president is to bring us together and do away with the IFT, IL, IG.
I humbly disagree.
Why?
I humbly disagree, because in principle, we can't do away with IG, IL, IFT. What we can do is that we can understand that, yes, we are independent institutions, but we are part of one larger family, and we must work together to achieve the goals and ideals of UniMAC. But independently, IL, IG, and IFT exist, both in the documentation and in the way we operate as institutions. When we were coming here, we didn't say we were coming to UniMAC. We were coming to UniMAC IL. When we are going to IFT, we say we are going to IFT. It exists.
That is because we are not done with our RSC,
The SRC.
SRC election. That's what we are still using.
But even after the elections, the act is not going to be done away with. Do you agree?
No, listen to me.
Okay.
When we were reviewing the Constitution, one of the main reasons why it delayed was because students felt like there's no way we can become one.
Okay. I disagree with that, so by God.
Yes. And we said, no, we can become one. The only thing that we do is that maybe we will say maybe South Legon campus, East Legon campus, Cantonment campus. But to say IL, IJ, and IFT, we have to do away with that so that we become one.
Well, when you say do away with it, I keep telling you, I'm a man of principle and law, and I refer to the established protocols that exist. I keep referring you to the act that establishes the university. The UniMAC SRC Constitution in itself is subservient to the laws of this country. And so if the act establishes that these constituent institutes exist, we need to respect that. What we need to do as an SRC is to treat those constituent institutes as one. But in its implementation and in principle, they would operate as independent institutes. So for example, I have mentioned to you that we need to create avenues where we can have foster a sense of belonging and engage with each other.
Please hold on. Can I have some silence in the hall, please? Please go ahead.
Sure. So I'm saying that in principle, these exist. I understand your drift. I share your sentiments. And my administration is committed to ensuring that we make IJ, IL, and IFT feel that we are the same daughters and sons of the same mother. That's essentially it. So you have a mother, I'm sure. You have siblings. Now, you understand that you are an individual. You are things that you need to do. Your siblings operate individually. But when it comes to achieving the collective ideals and goals of the adult of belonging, that we must foster and must work together. So where IJ falls short, IFT can bring in that resource and potential. Where IL falls short, IJ can bring in that resource and potential. And we've seen it play out. We organize events at IJ, and IFT handles the production for it. It is possible to work together.
Committed to pluralism. Are you committed to pluralism?
Well, I believe in diversity. And diversity is a very key thing. So if you're saying pluralism in terms of diverse backgrounds, yes, it's even impossible for us to come from the same background. People have tribal backgrounds, people have certain sentiments that do not align with mine. And it's my responsibility as a leader to engender dissenting opinions and diverse opinions. So as a leader, I'm committed to ensuring that there's the pluralism of views and action. But those pluralism of views and action must culminate in a central agenda. And that central agenda is to make UniMAC SRC great again. So I respect those diverse views, diverse consonants to what we want to achieve together. So yes, I'm committed to pluralism of views and of actions. Thank you.
Would you ever prioritize popularity over effectiveness? Why? Or why not?
Thank you very much for that question. I'm a poetry 20 plus years old man, and in my 20 years plus of work, old man, and in the 20 years of working this earth, I have never prioritized popularity. I believe that effectiveness will bring results, and results will bring popularity. So my focus is doing the work and doing it well, and letting the impact speak for itself. So I might not be the most popular person, but if the work speaks for itself, and it attracts popularity, why not? But I would prefer that it's effective, it's strategic, and it's tailored to save and engender the lives of the people that I'm serving. That is far more important to me than popularity. Thank you.
A donor offers a large sum of money, but wants to start different SRC elections. How do you...
My boss, when you started the submission, I couldn't hear from the start. Yes.
I'm saying that. Let me rephrase the question.
Okay, sure.
Students say a peaceful protest demanded better Muslims, but the protest escalates and causes minor damage. What is your immediate action, and how do you address the underlying demands?
So, it's important to always be on top of the issues as a leader. And so, as a matter of urgency, I would constitute a certain team that is made up of my executive team to understand what actually happened. Because for me to take the needed action, I must understand what happened. From the scenario you gave, it's looking like I was not a part of the demonstration, right?
You are under the leader, so
you've clarified the context. So if I'm the leader of that demonstration, peaceful demonstration, and there are certain existentialities that occur, it's my responsibility first and foremost to see to the welfare of those who have been affected by those heinous acts. I must see to their welfare. So if it's a reach, but I'm thinking maybe you are saying maybe somebody has been hurt but through violence, etc. My job is to see to their welfare first. Secondly, management will not be pleased about it because management has always been singing the same song: dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. And so it's important that we need to go back to the drawing board and engage with management and understand that the peaceful process was necessary because probably they ignored dialogue, or they didn't want to engage students, or the action they needed to take to benefit students' interests was not advanced. And so that is why we needed to take that action. whatever redress we need to come to, that mutual conclusion we need to come to with management, we would arrive at that conclusion for the betterment of the student body. But whoever has been affected by the casualties that have existed from, I am going to make it my mandate to ensure that they're well taken care of and their welfare is seen to. Thank you.
Okay, so my last question, do I even say it's a question? IL is made up of foreign students, but normally you see SRC communications being circulated, and it is in English, which is very difficult for some students to understand. So if elected, what are you going to do about this?
Very good question. I'm like that you're thinking very proactively, and kudos to you. You are an SRC executive, so it makes a lot of sense. Now, the solution is already inherent in the Constitution. If you take a look at the constitutional offices that exist, there's an International Student Affairs Officer, and there also exists the operations officer. Now, having a public relations background, engaging with key stakeholders is very important, and ensuring that the key stakeholders understand the message is also very important. And so that reasoning, that's communication using the whole tool of communication that we said out. So if it is expedient that we duplicate or ensure that there is also communication in some of the salient languages, Spanish, French, etc. We'll ensure that those communities go out in those languages. And it will be routed to another constitutional office, which is the institutional rep, because there's going to be an higher constitutional rep. IO students on that campus. So we'll ensure that we work hand in hand with these offices. And I'm mentioning them again. The Public Relations Officer, the General Secretary, and the Institutional Rep and Institutional Students Affairs Officer to ensure that there's smooth communication between the Executive Committee and the Institute.
What I'm saying, I would say that when we do the note, make sure that all SRC communications are done in both ways.
I mentioned that explicitly.
No, you mentioned of you having a communication officer.
So I'll show you the how. And I said that if we have to duplicate it in other languages, we'll do that to benefit the students.
It means it's not a subject of importance to you.
It is. I think I'm taking the phrase out of context. If we have to, and you are making a very strong case, and I've already said that because of the multi-national background of our student body, we have to. So we would ensure that, and I even told you how we are going to implement it.
I want to know, will you make sure that that is done? Or
you have my word, and my word is my bond. Yes, we will.
You do. All right.
How do you intend to raise your students' body in terms of communication?
Thank you very much for the question. Communication comes in diverse forms, and if you take a look at the SRC Constitution, which I make reference to a lot, official correspondence of the SRC is handled by the General Secretary. Now, to enhance a mutually beneficial relationship, I'm sure the framers of the Constitution have also added a new portfolio, that is the Public Relations Officer that will be appointed. Now, we're going to use diverse mediums. First of all, because of the fact that the vein of our SRC is mostly digital and online, because we don't really have a lot of campuses where students stay on campus and then we have to do a lot of engagement. We are going to use the standard medium. So the SRC already has an official SRC notice board where it shares, and when I say the SRC, I mean my constituent institute. We already have the SRC notice where we share official communication. We need to revamp that. We need to revamp the entire communication framework. And now take a look at UniMAC. So institutional reps have their own communication channels. Our job at the executive level is to ensure that information is promptly and properly disseminated to the institutional reps for further communication to the specific institutes. Now, together with the public relations officer, we're going to ensure that we make use of digital mediums to create content that will properly disseminate SRC information to the student body. So we're going to use both written content, digital content, and personal engagement. I have plans that as much as is within our domain, we will be visiting campus regularly to touch base with the students. That is a promise. We're not going to have an SRC where students are going to see their leaders at the start of the semester to do a welcome back tour, and when we're about to enlist them. We will be visiting campus regularly because we want to touch base with the students. We want to understand their realities. We want them to know that we are there for them and we are willing to lead them to the promised land. And so I've already explained that we use written, digital content, but also personal engagement. These are the three fundamental pillars of our communication framework. Thank you.
I think I have two questions. There will be questions for the student group. Right, beyond events and welfare, what's the lasting institutional change do you want your presidency to be remembered for?
Thank you very much for the question. I believe that there's a loss of trust in what SRC is. That is the fundamental problem. Students have been led to feel very apathetic towards anything SRC. So if you've noticed, it's even difficult to get students to be involved in SRC business. We want to use our administration to set that benchmark. We revive the lost love for Student Representative Council business. And that is why our manifesto document is called the Reset Manual. We are going back to the basics. We're going back to the rationale for which the SRC was formed in the first place. And at the end of the Kouyo Milady-led administration, we want to ensure that students who have lost trust, who have lost faith in not just the SRC student leadership, that faith will be restored and they would believe that student leadership is very profitable to the lives of students. And I could go into how we intend to do this. One, by ensuring that we leave long-lasting legacy projects. I've mentioned the establishment of the UniMAC Endowment Fund. This is something that is going to stand the test of time. Beyond my administration, if successive administrations manage the fund well, it means able to, based on the feedback that the House has given, we're able to properly contextualize the modernization of learning spaces and the construction. Imagine, these are legacy projects that are going to stand the test of time. Imagine. These are legacy projects that are going to stand the test of time. Imagine, we are going to we have to take into consideration the first years because we want them to also be a part of it. Okay. And so that is too hasty to say. But there's something that's going to be implemented and functional by the end of my administration, and I can promise you that. Okay, thank you.
In a case the student body decides to vote against you, does it mean that this good initiative will not come true?
So in the case, I'm repeating the question because I'm not too sure you're audible. Okay. So in the case the student body decides to vote against me, will I implement the initiative? The rollout of the initiative, I've already established how I'm going to go about it. It would require that I'm in office because to engage the UniMAC sports director, to work with the sports commission, I need to be the SRC president. You see, I'm not contesting for the position just because it's a position. The access, the relevance, and the power it gives me to do certain things is very important. So I will do my best to try and implement it. I've had conversations of even organizing a mini sports competition. But when we go into the funding, it's sometimes very difficult. But leveraging on my office as SRC president will be easier. So I can't say for a fact that if I'm not voted into office, I'm going to implement it. But what I can say is that we'll do our best even if you're not voted for, because it's always been about impact and not positions for me. Thank you.
Okay. Moses, were you part of the previous SRC executives?
No, please, I was not.
Okay.
But I've always been at the forefront of student advocacy and leadership. I was not part of the...
Okay. You really have brilliant ideas.
Thank you very much.
So why didn't you help the SRC president to implement all these ideas, but waited for us to put you in power before you do all these things? And I say that even if we don't vote for you, you are still going to do it. Do you still want us to believe you on this?
I've already mentioned that the ease of access, the ability to do things better, it comes with the office. The challenges are far more insurmountable if I'm just a mere student leader. Because you walk into certain office and they ask you, who are you? I say I'm the UniMAC SRC president, the doors are open for me. So I am saying, I'll answer your question. I am saying that to a large extent, the office is one of the means to better the lives of the student body. But I can do a lot of things in my personal capacity and I do them already. So to answer your question about not working with the previous administration, every administration has a set of people they want to work with in various capacities. That's why appointments are made. That's why people reach out to certain people for support. The previous interim committee chairperson is a friend of mine, but we do not see eye to eye on certain issues, and I've made that abundantly clear. And so I am not even sure that he would even want to work with me because we are.
But did you propose? Did you propose certain things to him?
To propose something, someone must be receptive. So he was not even receptive in the first place.
But he said he's your friend.
We've been friends before, but I'm saying that we do not see eye to eye when it comes to leadership and governance. But in other quarters, Benada Kofi Afonso is a friend of mine. But I do not think he's a good leader. I think when it comes to leadership, there are question marks. That's the point I'm making.
Did you say you don't think he's a good leader?
Yes, the track record is there to show.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I am happy you spoke about the Act 2020 that established UniMAC. Having established that point or that fact, how do you intend to roll out the traditional events that these institutions already have, coupled with your ideas or policies that you want to implement? How are you going to roll out these policies?
So when you say traditional events were stipulated in the previous constitutions that they have. But those constitutions are dead on arrival once the UniMAC constitution is promulgated. It is what is in the UniMAC constitution that you are going to adhere to. So for example, SRC week. Again, that's a consideration I've already made to some key members of the Constitutional Committee. The celebration of SRC week is not explicitly stated in the current draft that we have. So we can talk about that. But SRC week is a traditional SRC event. So that is going to be celebrated. We are going to repurpose some of the things that some of these institutions already do and see if it falls in line with what the overarching goal of our administration is, and then roll them out. We are the executive committee of the UniMAC SRC. We are working with institutional reps to roll out the benefits for the student body. Okay, then contextualize it.
I know IJ has
Point. Okay, I was coming to do a General Assembly intervention side, sorry. So, point of correction, Akwaba Week is not a traditional event, it's a convention. So, a convention that successive SRC administrations have been doing. It's not stipulated anywhere. So, traditional means that it is statutory, it must be organized. No, that's what it means in the true essence. That's fine.
Traditional means that things that the various institutions have been doing over time.
Great. So, I'm mentioning to you that we can depart. No, I didn't say stated in the court. I said statutory.
In your response earlier, you said that these events are there because the constitutions of those institutions.
Great. And you mentioned Akwaba Week, and I'm making the points that it's a convention. So it is possible for this administration, if we look at our resources, to depart from it because it is not statutory. It's a convention. When freshers come into our university, we decide that we want to. Great.
I mentioned that. I was also mentioned about the challenge. This events are events that I think that in the minds of the people who doesn't have, or even with the demands of the people, the students of this campus, they thought it's necessary. That is why it was established.
Great.
That's why I'm asking that. How are you able to just oppose that with your policy? Because I don't think any IFT student will be happy to take away and
Thank you very much. And I've not mentioned.
No.
Will you be happy? Please use the mic.
Oh, sorry.
So when you say no. I believe it's supposed to. Okay.
Thank you very much for the question. So I was mentioning that I do not have intentions of taking away any initiative. I'm not saying that I'm going to take away any initiative. What I'm going to do is to engage with the institutional reps. Let's not forget that they're institutional reps. These reps are the voices of the specific institutes at the executive council level. So my engagement and collaboration with them will determine the necessity of those events. And you've mentioned, I am someone who has followed the Akwaba Film Festival and the initiative you've mentioned. I believe that it is critical to, and is a lifeblood of what IFT students practice, both
Silence
in theory and in practice. You understand? So it's not something I do want to depart from. But I don't want to say verbatim that this is going to be done or not. Collaboration and engagement with the institutional reps that have been mandated by the Constitution to oversee the affairs is very important. And then we can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are ready to invite questions from the students' body. Okay, please come forward.
Hello, please. No, listen. It's to all the students. It shouldn't be in a storytelling form. The question should be straight.
That's right.
Yeah, it should be straight to the point.
The question should be quick and straight to the point, please. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jipa, and my question is to my president.
To your president.
Yes, please. Okay, so in the research manual, you stated that you are going to do a peer-to-peer mentorship. So I want to know the criteria you are going to use to do that. Are you going? Okay, yes. So how are you going to do that?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to speak about a very key policy, but it seems we've not entered those waters. The Strategic Academic Support Committee, which is going to be the functional committee that is going to handle all academic-related challenges of students. Now, under that Strategic Academic Support Committee, one of the key things we want to do is peer-to-peer mentorship. We've come to the realization that academic brilliance is not standard. Certain people grasp information better than the others. Some people are slow learners, certain people are fast learners, some people grasp certain concepts better than the others. It's important that we do not leave our students to their fate. And in not leaving students to their fate, one of the key things we are going to use, the standard academic measure of academic brilliance is our GPA. And that is why, even to be able to contest for this position, use GPA as the measure of academic brilliance. We are going to have conversations with the Strategic Academic Support Committee to set a GPA framework. We are going to select people who fall with this category to assist certain people who have academic challenges. This is a very simple concept. So if, for example, my beautiful running mate here, Lady Mikaya, has 3.5, 3.8, it is an indication that at least she grasps certain concepts. Before we roll out the peer-to-peer mentorship scheme, we would assess her. So if she's going to be the one who's going to handle, for example, a course like logic and critical thinking, we'll assess her to see a basic understanding of it. And that's going to be handled by the speak about a logistical challenge. They don't have the supplies and etc. But we pay facility user fee. So it's my responsibility as the chief spokesperson for the student body to engage with management to ensure that there is the timely and appropriate release of whatever the contractors that we've secured to clean the place need to be able to properly clean the place to our satisfaction. That's the first step. Secondly, together with the institutional reps, we need to embark on awareness creation on good sanitation practices. Students need to understand that you don't have to litter indiscriminately. When you use the washroom, flush it. When you are done, do the needful, extra. We need to sensitize the students on what the good sanitation practices are. Then he also mentioned that, hey boss, that's fine. So he also mentioned the second question that says that would I lead petitions? Will I accept petitions to a large extent against? I've always said I'm a very ruthless leader. Ruthless in the sense that my fidelity is to the Constitution and student interest. And so if by the grace of God and the everlasting mercies of Almighty Allah I come into office, what is going to happen is that it is my social contract to the student body that I'm paying heed to. So if you are my colleague executive and you decide to do anything untoward, a student presents a petition and the petition goes to the appropriate legal procedure, I'm going to ensure that the full rigors of the Constitution and law is meted out to you. There's truly nothing I can do about it. Then thirdly, my general views on student advocacy. I believe that student advocacy is dying. Representation is dying. And it's because the structures that engender student advocacy are dwindling or are not a lot more vibrant or appealing to students anymore. So for example, some students don't even know what General Assembly is. But General Assembly is one of the foundational places where you learn a lot about governance. Students don't know what it is. They don't know how to even enter General Assembly. So how then do they cut their teeth in advocacy and representation? So I believe that our administration is going to make the SRC vibrant again and give students a golden ticket to want to be a part of the SRC business once more. Thank you.
All right. The reason why I picked the microphone is you mentioned that you're going to be doing advocacy.
Sensitizing the students on good sanitation practices.
We've done that particularly on IIT students, but still, even with ID, we still have. We've done that. When you go to IIT today, you see notices in the washroom, the lecture halls, the entrance. There are bins, and since people are leaving, what's the drink and yesterday? Burkina to be blasting in lecture halls.
Thank you. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, can you tell us what happened to you? People left
great.
bottles when they exploded and they smashed all of them.
That's fine, I understand.
Classmates in the lecture hall.
Sure.
So,
Can I touch on that? Great. So one of the things when you take a look at behavioral psychology and behavioral outcomes, one of the key things is consistent education. That is why we vote every year, but the National Civic Education Organization continues to engage in civic education. It doesn't stop. So to achieve behavioral outcomes, it's important that education is consistent. So we can't stop the education. It is a key component in achieving behavioral outcomes. What I would add to the soup of advocacy and representation is that we would also need to start meting out punitive sanctions. Deterrents need to be established. People need to understand that if you make certain mistakes, you must be punished for it to serve as a deterrent to the next person. And so that's one of the added layers. By education, even though you are making the assertion that it has not yielded a result yet, I would not want to give up on the good people of UniMAC. Now, to institute punitive sanctions, it's not in my domain. It must be in collaboration with the General Assembly and even the Dean of Students Affairs to a large extent. We will look at what is needful within that current context and apply it. But I can't sit here and say from the top of my head that people pay a fine of 100 cedis or this. That will be beyond me. Sure.
We said that we have found those that you walk out of the class and all that. So, how are you
on the lighter side, I'm sure there are students who already want to go out of the classroom. So you are doing them a favor. So it means that so we need to take a look at the punitive sanctions, and if we need to establish sanitation watchdogs, we need to give people responsibility that these people, but it doesn't mean that we need to stop. The end goal, you are pointing out the inefficiencies. I get it. Great. And that's well understood. So my administration is committed to doing the needful to eradicate this problem. And since you have a first-hand knowledge, we'll definitely knock on your door as and when it's necessary if this vetting panel gives us the nod to contest in the upcoming election. Thank you very much.
Silence in my hall. Okay, all right. Any last words for the students' body?
Under 1 minute.
Under 1 minute.
So am I allowed to look at the camera?
Feel free.
Because a large majority of the student body is there. All right, thank you. So, good evening, good people of UniMAC. My name is Moses Desire Kouyo. I'm here with Milady Orlando Mikaya. I am a man that has walked the path of student politics for the past 4 to 5 years. I'm a man that has served in numerous leadership capacities. I'm a man that has exemplified that a leader is supposed to be competent, the leader is supposed to have integrity, and the leader is supposed to be transparent. And now I want to take it to the highest level to serve you better. But to go to the highest level, I need your consent. You would need, if the vetting panel endorses me, you will need to go to the polls and endorse me as the next and first UniMAC SRC president. And I'm not coming into that office alone. I'm coming into that office with a woman that is well vested in everything that relates to governance and leadership. She's experienced. And
Silence in the whole.
And above all, she has a heart of service. There's nobody that I've come across that has a heart of service like Milady. Together, we are the perfect pair, and we're the leaders of the Come Along agenda.
Okay.
Join us and let's transform our SRC.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Moses Desire Kouyo, and the clapping is okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Moses Desire Kouyo and Miss Milady Mikaya Orlando. All right. I'm so sorry. All right. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much for the time. I do have a lovely
Our vice president now will tell us
Yeah,
Silence in the hall, please. We are not done. I have to give my closing remarks. Silence in the hall, please. Thank you so much. So I would like to say a very big thank you to all of the aspirants that came to be vetted yesterday and today. Thank you so much for presenting yourselves with confidence, with the courage, and with clarity. Vetting, I always say, is not meant to intimidate, but only to ensure your readiness, your accountability, and respect for the responsibility that comes with the positions that you are seeking for. To the students' body present here and those watching us online, thank you for your engagement, your questions, and your interest in the process. Your participation